Tanya here with Urban Roots and Remedies, and I am in Wisconsin, Zone 5B. And tonight I'm going to start doing some winter sowing in these water jugs. And so I thought, even though it's a little bit dark down here in my lower level where I'm going to be doing this, I thought, why not take you guys along with me on this journey and share with you what winter sowing is and why I'm choosing to do it this year. This is actually my first year doing it, so I'm super excited to see how it turns out, what things are going to grow, if there's going to be anything that's maybe not pop up. And I already have some stuff outside that I've winter sowed already, so I will take you out there and show you exactly what I have planted already. But I have some more things that I think 6 or 7 more seeds that I want to do tonight, and I have a lot more that I want to do, but I'm kind of doing them in increments depending on the time and stuff like that. So these are what I'm going to be doing tonight. You can, if you want to plan everything all in one day and be like, all right, here's the 20 things that I'm going to winter sow and do everything all in one sitting, you can do that. Or for me, this is something that I love to do on my downtime. So at night when I'm trying to wind down and settle down for the night, that's when I get my planning out, my planting stuff out, and it's just my comfort zone. It's what I do to kind of relax for the night. And I have my plant room, which, you know, if you've seen my first episode, you probably saw my plant room. The things that are in there are getting so much more bigger now. So, and today I did plant some onions. So planted some seeds for onions. So got that done today. So anyway, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you all the things that you need to winter sow. So the first thing you're going to need, obviously, are the things that you're going to be putting your seeds in. And these are water jugs that I use because I don't drink milk. So I had to go to the store, and every time I go to the store, I'll get like 4 or 5 water jugs and just either dump it in my Berkey or my coffee pot, plants, whatever, any way I can do to dump water. Use it in a lot of my herbal teas at night. So I've been collecting these. If you can't get your hands on a lot of them all at once, you can ask family members to help you save them. Some people will go to like coffee shops like Starbucks, Scooters, whatever coffee places you have in your area, and a lot of those places are more than happy to help you out and give you some milk jugs to repurpose. Another thing that you're going to need is something to put holes in this. So this is going to be acting like your greenhouse. And you want to take the lid off the top, and you want to keep that lid off. And I just put a couple holes up at the top here. Over there, I have a drill. That's what I use. There was one time where my fireplace was going, and I got this little poker down here really hot, and I poked some holes that way. Or I have used this a few times, but I don't really like to use this in the house because it starts to, like, I don't want to say smoke, but I guess that's exactly what it is. It's burning the plastic, and that plastic really smells, and it's not probably very healthy for you. It's very toxic. So I'll probably use this more in the summer when I can go plug this in outside and use it. Otherwise, a lot of people will just use, like, if you have sharp scissors, or you can just use any kind of sharp object that you have where you can just go in and, you know, dig in here and create some holes that way. Just get creative. However you can get holes in here, do it. I put some on the bottom here, and then I also put some on the sides as well. So the first thing you're going to want to do with these is you're going to want to, well, this is how I do it. Everybody does it differently, but I do it right here, right along the handle. You don't want to go over the handle here because this handle part is going to, it's going to open up, and it's going to act like the lid, but the lid's still going to be connected. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not very good at explaining things, as you can tell. Okay, so I just do a straight line across with the box cutters, and you could go all the way across with the box cutters if you want, but I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I like my lines to be straight, and I can never get them straight. with the box cutters because they always end up going crooked and wonky on me. So then I will just finish it off with the scissors. And you want to go all the way across. And I'll get a close-up too so you can kind of see this better. I'm going to go, but you, like I said, you don't want to go all the way to this part right there. See how this opens up like that? This is what you want to create. There are, I have seen people who will cut this top piece off, and when they have their dirt in here and their seeds in here, they'll just plop this in and kind of like close it in like that. I guess you could do that, but I prefer to do it this way. So you can see the holes that I have in there. Some people will use containers like this. Anything that is transparent or opaque, you can use. I haven't used anything small like this, so this is going to be kind of like an experiment for me. Experiment to see if it'll grow. I'm sure something in there will grow. You can use like any kind of juice containers like this. Some people have used those rotisserie, we have like obviously the bottom, but then you have that dome on top that's transparent. There's also, I've seen people use lettuce containers that are plastic that have a dome on top, cat litter containers. Like there's so many things that you can use. You just have to make sure that the sun is going to be able to penetrate through. So this is going to act like a greenhouse, and it's going to get super hot in here. We are going to tape this up, but you, like I said, want to make sure that this stays off the lid, because you're going to want your rain and snow and stuff like that to get through and make sure your seeds are getting watered. So some other things that I use, I do write the name of whatever it is that I'm planting on the container here. I will write it on the tape around here because I want to use these for a couple of years. And I also will use little labels and put inside just in case the writing kind of wears off. It will wear off if you just use like a regular Sharpie pen. But what I use are these garden I'm trying to make sure you guys can see it. It's called a garden marker. I can talk. So this one's a garden marker. And I also use these Sharpie paint pens. These won't wear off, but if you just use regular Sharpie or any other kind of pen, it will. So you want to get something that's going to stay, which is why, just in case, I will put a label inside as well. Obviously, you're going to want your seeds, and I'll share with you guys what I'm planting tonight. Sometimes I will have like some kind of a stick. I like to use chopsticks or this to, like, if you need to have the seeds go down, depending on what you're planting, they have to be a certain depth or not. You could use toothpicks if you are, some people, if the seeds are super fine and tiny, which is what I do most of the time as well. Oh my gosh, I just hit my microphone again. I hope you guys didn't hear that. I got to get used to that with the microphone being there. But I just sprinkle. Some people want to save their seeds and they don't want to be picking out like tons of plants that are grown at the end. So they'll take this, and if you wet the tip of it, you can have the seeds in your hand and go in there and pick one individually and plant in there, which works pretty well. I use that a lot when I use the cells, the individual little seed cells that I have, so that I'm not wasting seeds and I'm not having to like have a ton of plants popping up that I have to pick through, and I feel so bad having to throw plants away. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what you need. I also use this for my tape. You can use painter's tape, which some people find works. For me, I don't know if it was maybe my painter's tape was too old, but it ended up peeling off, and that didn't work for me. You can use masking tape, whatever works for you to put around here and close this up so that this can get hot and act as a greenhouse for you. So, all right, that's everything that you need. I'll show you me putting some dirt in here, and I'll tell you guys what I'm using or what I'm putting in and planting as far as my seeds go for tonight. I wanted to show you that you can use containers like this as well, as long as the top is not covered. Like this has to be transparent too. And I have holes on the top lid and on the bottom. And I just have these here because I'm thinking about using these. I think I have one outside already that I have stuff in, but this was given to me by my brother. So I'm like, why not put it to use? So you could put this in here, and this acts as your greenhouse as well. And when I take you outside to show you what I already have planted, I do have some of these little cups that have like domes on them. I have some of these out there just to kind of see if they work. I don't know why they wouldn't, but I have these in my plant room right now, using this as like a greenhouse in my plant room. So there's so many different things that you can do besides just using milk jugs. Okay, going down to my basement. That's where the mess is. As you can see, my mess back there on my table. So I go downstairs, and this is where I pot everything up down here, just because I don't want it on my carpet, obviously, upstairs. So I have this little table down here, and I have my shelves that I have all of my garden stuff on. I really do need to organize down here a little bit better. So, all right, let me get this camera situated here, and I'll show you what I do. Okay, I don't use seed starting mix. I've been using just potting soil, and I have found that there's a lot of like wood chips and stuff in here. So I've been sifting my dirt out just to get it to be a little bit more finer. So I'll show you what I've been using for that. Okay, so I have the dirt here, and I have this little strainer. I don't know what to call it. There might be a special name for it. I got this on Amazon, and I think for 2 of them, it came with this one and then this one, which the holes in it are a little smaller. So right now I'm using the one that's got bigger holes in it. And I sift everything out because the stuff that I'm using has a lot of like wood chips in it. And it just, I started using the dirt is like it comes, and I was finding, when I was planting my seeds and stuff, that a lot of my stuff wasn't germinating because these wood chips would get in the way, and they hinder your seeds from popping up and hinder your plants from getting really good roots and stuff like that. So this is to me as kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say exercise. I guess it is for the arms. But I don't know. Some people find this kind of tedious, but I find it kind of relaxing because I love to get in here and dig in the dirt and play in the dirt and stuff like that. So I don't mind this, but you might think it's kind of tedious. So if that's you, you might want to just get yourself some seed starting mix and just use that. I do find the seed starting mix is a little bit more expensive. You don't get as big of bags. It's cheaper from what I've seen, from the stuff I've been using, just to get a bigger bag of this, the potting mix, and just sift it out. To me, is a little bit more work, obviously, but it's cheaper. So this is what I do, and then I have the mix here in the bowl. Super fine, no chunks in it. Depending on what you're using, you might need a little bit more perlite, which I add in there. And then I'll just fill this bowl up and start filling in my jugs. I do get this wet, so I have a sink down here. I'll fill this up with water, get my mix a little bit wet. You want it so that you can squeeze the dirt in your hand and it'll stay. Of course, this doesn't have that much water in it, so it's not going to work that good for me. But you want it to stay like this without falling apart, but yet at the same time not dripping with water. And so once I get the water in here, I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I have my water in here. Usually I'll have this like full. I don't now, so I'm not going to use that much water. And I do have a glove on just because I don't like it when it's like super wet and it's like getting into my fingernails and stuff. I have a really large one because this comes off and on so easy that I just keep using the same one over and over again. Just like slips off my hand. Okay, so this is the consistency you want it, that it just kind of forms a clump like that, but it's, if I squeeze it, it's not squeezing water out of it. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough dirt to fill this up. We'll see. But I'm going to want this all the way to the top. You want at least 4 inches of dirt because you're going to have so many seeds going into here that you want to have room for all of those plants to have really good roots. Otherwise, that's when you're going to run into problems with things not turning out at the end. I got a little bit left at the top here that I need to do, so I'll work on that and then I'll bring you back and show you guys the seeds that I'm going to be planting. So the other seeds that I'm going to be planting are amaranth, which I'm super excited about. I'm going to be adding this to the part of my garden that's going to be just cut flowers. I have a bunch of flowers that I'm going to be putting out there, and I'm curious to see what this looks like in my garden and if I'm able to bring it in and put it in vases with other flowers to just make my house look pretty. And I don't know, just never have used it before, so I'm excited to try. Then I'm going to be putting some evening primrose in. This is an herb that I'm super excited to start working with, along with some blue vervain. These have really pretty purple flowers on them. And then, of course, gotta have the bee balm. I love having bee balm because the bees love it and it's super pretty. And nasturtiums, also an edible flower, super great medicinal properties here. But these also work as companion planting for helping with like pests and stuff like that in your garden. So I'll talk more about this later on. And then also, I want to try this. I'm super excited and curious to see if mullein pops up. We searched for mullein this past summer and finally found some. Most of it was when we were on vacation. I think it was Door County. I think that's where we found a lot of it from, and I was able to gather some flowers and stuff for it. But I want to see if I can plant this outside in my garden and just have a little bit of experience with it. So this is what I'm planting this time. I have a whole bunch more that I'm still going to be putting out, but it seems like I kind of go in spurts. Well, I'll take like 6 to 10 packets, take the buckets or the containers and put a bunch out, and then I'll wait a couple weeks, and then I'll do it again in kind of different increments. Whereas some people will plan everything out, figure out what they want to plant for the year, and do everything all in one day. You can do whatever you desire. For me, I like to do it in spurts and increments, just kind of whenever I feel like it, especially since I have so many plants that I'm putting out there. It just gets overwhelming having to do it all in one sitting. So whenever I get the drive, I will gather some jugs up and put some out. And so I think the next batch that I'm going to do, since we are getting closer to the planting time, I do want to put some herbs out, and I am going to be putting things out like some broccoli and cabbage and things like that. So okay, so I have it pretty close to the top, and it is damp, and so the first seed that I'm going to start with is I'm planting some Joe Pye weed, which is this one. I got this one on Amazon. Not Amazon, I got this one on Etsy. Sorry. Got this one on Etsy. I buy a lot of my seeds from Etsy or Amazon, or Strictly Medicinal Seeds is a really good place. And look at how, I don't know if you can see that, how small they are. So this I'm just going to sprinkle on top. So Joe Pye weed is a really great plant to have for as a flower. It's super pretty, but it's also an herb and can be used medicinally. So super excited to plant this, and it's a really great pollinator as well. So once I sowed them in there on top, just sprinkled it lightly. I usually take something like this, or that's why I have this out here too, or I also have this because sometimes your seeds may require some soaking time, so that's why I have these out. But I'm just lightly patting that down into the dirt, just like nature would do. If these were to drop from their flower, and then the rain and stuff like that would come in, and eventually it would just get pummeled down to the ground and stuck in there a little bit. And then I give it a light spritz. You can use this, or they do have these like water, I don't even know what they're called, little water squirters. I do have one, but I always forget I have it. And I always just use these instead. So a little spritz there. And then you want to close it. Oh, I can't forget, I did make a label. So like I said, I do put a label in there just in case the weather takes the writing that I'm going to be putting on here away, which with these pens shouldn't, but I like to overdo it, I guess. And then for me, I put the tape all the way around. Some people, I've seen some people don't. They'll just put like a little piece here and a little piece there and call it good. But I like it all the way around because it's a greenhouse, so, or acting as a greenhouse. So I kind of want to close it up as much as I can, because I mean, it's going to get airflow through here and these holes, but and you can experiment with different kinds of tape to see what kind of tape works best for you or what you like best. Some people don't like to use this tape that I'm using here because it is harder to get off, so sometimes you will have to come with a box cutter or scissors and kind of cut through it, because especially after sitting outside for so long, it might be tough getting it open. That's why a lot of people will use painter's tape, but for me, the painter's tape, when I put it on, just peeled off, and like I said, that could be because it was pretty old. I do have masking tape here too, you could probably use. I'm probably using too much of this, but. And then I will I'll use this pen. And like I said, I like to write on the tape here because I do want to use this over again. Kind of sloppy, but as long as I know what it is, I guess that's the important part. And I put it in a couple different places just in case it wears off in one. Hopefully it's not going to wear off in all of them. Okay, so I got it written down in a couple different places. I have it labeled, I have the tape on. Now it is good to go, and I will stick this outside with the rest of my containers that I have. So that's it. Super simple. hopefully you guys learned something here today. Hopefully, if this is the first time learning about winter sowing, I taught you a thing or two. And I want to know down in the comments section if you have ever winter sowed before. And if not, if you plan on doing it this year for the very first time and what plants you want to start with. So some benefits to winter sowing that I didn't mention was that a lot of people like to do it this way because maybe you don't have the space in your house to have a plant room like I do. The only reason I have a plant room is because I'm an empty nester now. All my kids are out of the house and we have these extra rooms. And so I'm able to convert one into a plant room. And so if you don't have the space, if you're maybe a neat freak and you don't like having shelving around your house with heat mats and grow lights and things like that, this is a great alternative to somebody who maybe just doesn't have the space in their house to grow the plants indoors. So all you have to do is put them in jugs and put them outside, and it mimics exactly what nature does in the first place. Another benefit to it is that if you were to plant your stuff indoors, which I do have some stuff growing indoors, but maybe you don't want any at all, it helps with the hardening off. If you're growing things indoors, once spring gets here, you have to take your plants out and start off slow, like getting them used to the elements outside, like the wind and the sun and things like that. So you want to start off like maybe putting them outside for an hour or two in the shade, and then, increase your time as days go on, and then eventually put them in some wind and some sun, and that's so that they don't get shocked and end up like wilting on you. When you winter sow, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. When you winter sow, they're already used to that element outside, so you don't have to worry about it, and your plants are going to be so much more stronger that way. So those are some benefits to winter sowing. So all right, guys, I'm going to head off and go finish up all of my jugs that I have down there, put these seeds in, and I'll show you what I have going outside. Okay, so I said I would show you guys what I have so far for the stuff that I have winter sown so far. I'm out here in my sandals. It's like 10 degrees out here. I don't know if I'll be able to show you everything because a lot of stuff is like covered in snow, so you can just see what I can get to and show you the rest later on. But I can see on this top right here I have some bone set. These right here in these containers I know are poppies. Oh, everything's like frozen. Here's some more red and orange poppies. I can't get in here. Let's see what this one is. That's some lavender. Oh, I should have worn my gloves. That is Oregon grape. We have lilacs in that one. My hands are frozen already. It's like, I don't know if I said this already, but it's like 10 degrees out here, you guys. But anyway, I don't know if I want to go through all of these. You can see right here that I do have some containers in some bins. You can do that as well if you want to winter sow. You can also put stuff in cat litter boxes, things like this, little containers. I think I have some sort of maybe ginkgo tree seeds in there. I can't remember. But maybe if it warms up and some of this stuff melts off, I'll come back and show you everything that I have going. But it's super cold and it's, I don't know if you can see, but it's snowing out right now.